Joined once again by Brett Taveau, author of Unpacking Greatness, a Chiefs book you can find on Amazon. Brett, we are back for the details, and I know one of the big questions this year, how are those tackles going to look for the Chiefs? So we'll do something a little bit different this week. Let's just go to the 6 plays from the first quarter of the Chiefs game against the Saints in the preseason. I want to have you take a look at this, see what you see from both the left tackle and the right tackle, Jawaan Taylor and Donovan Smith, and kind of just give some notes on what you see from a coach's vantage point of how the Chiefs performed in this game. You game for that?
Absolutely. A little bit of a small sample size. I think each one of them only played 9 snaps, but as you said, we're going to look at 6 and fired up, ready to go, man.
All right, let's start with this first one, outside zone run, and what do you see?
Yeah, so outside zone run to the right, fly motion's going to add an extra blocker to the alley player. The left tackle, Donovan Smith, his job is basically a backside cutoff. And he does a great job of cutting off that 3 technique, staying engaged, and actually finishes with a pancake here. So, I think he would definitely get a plus on this play. Taylor, on the other hand, and a lot of this is personnel driven. He's going against Cameron Jordan, one of the best defensive.
94 right there on the screen.
Yep. In the NFL. And he gave him some problems, as we'll see as we look at some other plays as well. But he initially, gets good movement. But what he does is allow him to rock back into the B gap here and really make the play. And, as we covered last year on outside zone, the back's looking to take the edge. If you could roll back to the very start here, it's pretty clear he's not going to get Cam Jordan reach. So he pushes him out. But what he does is, Edwards-Helaire is going to read the edge and sees now it's a B gap run. And he makes the right read, but Taylor lets Cam Jordan back into the B gap and makes the play.
Let's get to play 2 here. Tell me what you see from both these guys. Again, we're going to start with the left tackle, who will be on the left side of the screen for you guys, which is Donovan Smith, and then we'll go to the right tackle, who will be on the left side. So let's start with Donovan Smith here at left tackle. What do you see from him?
Yeah, so you got a 2 tight end set here. If you could run it back to the start there, Jesse. So what he's going to work with Noah Gray here is a tray block between those 2 on number 96. They're basically going to combo up, get movement here until Noah Gray basically overtakes him, and then Smith's going to turn back inside. So it's a really good, as what I said, a tray block right there. They get great movement. However, Taylor on the backside, if we watch here, his job is basically, if you could pause it right at the snap, he has no threat directly inside, and he's got a tight end there. I think that may be Kelsey. I don't know if it's Kelsey or Bell. Doesn't really matter. That's going to cut off 94 there, Jordan. So basically, Taylor's job is to cut off the backside inside linebacker, number 20 right there, and not allow him to run in pursuit and make the play, which he fails to do here. If he does, if you pause it right there, imagine he gets him cut off. Edwards-Helaire is able to press the butt of this deuce block here on number 93 and then cut that in, but he's unable to get number 20 there, the backside inside linebacker cut off, and he makes the play. So what you have are probably the first 2 plays outside zone to him and outside zone away from him. He's probably getting minuses in the film room on those 2. Taylor.
Yeah, that one was even noticed. I think when I rewatched it real time at the game, you kind of saw him go after that guy and not quite get him, and potentially a big play if that thing gets blocked.
Yeah, you and I were texting back and forth on Saturday, and you saw it, but you're a lot more astute than most, Jesse.
Yeah, I don't think so. I can do well with replay watching it 6 or 7 times back. Get into a pass play here, so we'll go back left tackle, right tackle here.
Yeah, I think this, not a ton noteworthy here, just guys doing their job. They're vertical setting here, and they're able to keep those guys from collapsing the pocket, keep them on the outside. And Mahomes, I think, just, seeing the coverage and seeing he's got space in front of him to try to get the first down. He probably bails a little bit earlier than usual. Just because of, he probably saw grass there and a chance to get the first down, but good job. And then the violent finish by Smith here is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Watch 96er on the right side.
Stays engaged and then tosses it. Yeah.
That's good stuff, and that's 3 in a row where we've looked at Donovan Smith, who potentially coming off an injury last year where he played through a couple, trying to do kind of the juju season to rebuild his value. Looking pretty good so far in these limited snaps. All right,
For sure.
we're back to Blaine Gabbert here, but still the starters in. So let's go left tackle, right tackle.
Yeah. So we'll start with the right tackle, I guess. He gets bull rushed here. And again, this is Cam Jordan. This is a great player here. Gives up way too much ground, doesn't get his cleats in the ground fast enough off that initial bull rush move to be able to sustain and keep him out of the pocket. So he gets put in Gabbert's lap a little bit, which doesn't impact the throw. Still a good throw, but you would like to hold your ground a little bit more there if possible.
Anything to note from Donovan Smith on the left side? Right side of the screen, left tackle?
Yeah. So what stood out to me, and he does a good job with it, is just the short set he takes here. He takes more of a quick game set. He's not taking, if you watch the difference between Taylor and Smith, and I'm not sure if he's seeing something pre-snap, if this was film study, but he basically goes out and engages him or engages on the line of scrimmage as opposed to the vertical kick set you see out of Taylor. But what that does, it puts him in position to handle that inside move from 96.
He does that well. It was interesting, especially with Taylor on the right side. His kick set, very noticeable, and he wants to get off right on the snap too. That was something from the game that was very noticeable right on the snaps and coming really close to a false start even, but he wants to get back there and wants to get set. And when he does, it's really tough to get around him.
And again, I don't want to keep, coming back to the personnel they're playing against, but obviously that matters. And I'm sure they did a little bit of film study. They know who they're going against, and he knows that, whether Cam Jordan has a speed rush or whatever, that probably impacts, how fast he's looking to get back there and how much depth he's looking to get.
All right. So more to go.
Yeah. So this next play here, this would have been, if this would have been the one minus that Donovan Smith got. So what you have here is an outside zone to the right with an RPO. And the way it's an RPO, even though we got the end zone version, you can't see the receivers, is if you could roll back to the snap there, Jesse. Smith is going to lock on the backside. Instead of continuing play side with the flow to the right, he's going to look to cut off this backside defensive end, which is going to keep, or not cut off, but lock him out, which would keep his hands down if Gabbert decides to pull it and throw. And they're going to read the backside inside linebackers. You go back one more time. 45, there's the read, and he goes out, so the ball's going to be handed. Where if he would have chased the back, then that's probably a pull and throw. So Smith's job is to basically engage 96, keep hands down. He does not keep him off the backside here, as we see. So if Edwards-Helaire presses this a little bit more and decides to cut this backside, picture him cutting off 96 and the potential for this backside run. So now he doesn't cut it backside because maybe he likes what he sees front side, but it's possible he sees 96 coming as peripheral. So this would have been, ideally you'd like Smith to get 96 cut off there, and you got the picture you want. And then go ahead.
Sorry. I was just like, go to Taylor on the right tackle. What'd you see from him here?
Same problems if we look at, that we saw on the first play. So Jordan sets the edge here, which tells Edwards-Helaire basically, hey, you're not running this ball in the C gap. This ball's got to go the B gap. And then what he does, Jordan does a really good job of throwing his hands down, throwing Taylor's hands down and getting back into the B gap and impacting the play, which, is obviously not what you want there.
I know from watching training camp, Andy Heck, the offensive line coach, they have so many of those plays. They swat the hands down, swat the hands down, swat the hands down. And this is an example of why you don't want a guy to get hands on you, because he controls you. And again, kind of controls that play, even while you said kind of maintaining the edge as well. All
Absolutely.
Right,
yeah. So
final one here.
Third and 5, 3rd and 4, maybe heavy pass down. But if you go, I don't want to get off topic here. You go back to the start. You can see McKinnon has walked up. He's walked up because there's 2 A gap threats that are immediate threats right away.
Yeah,
and
the left and right.
One of them.
Yeah, left and right of Creed Humphrey. So right there up the middle, 20 and 45 coming up there. When he sees that, he's got to be helper.
he knows, hey, there's somebody potentially coming hot in the A gap. Now that 45 ends up dropping, so then he's able to come back and help out on other guys. But anyways, nothing too noteworthy. The tackles do a good job here of either running the guy upfield like Smith does, and then Taylor does a good job on Jordan here, holding his ground. Mirroring him there at the end. You can see he's kind of in between him and the quarterback and has not given up any space like he did on that snap he was bull rushed.
Real quick, I guess, first impressions from these two tackles from watching them in very limited action, but what you saw from them in this first game.
Yeah, I think Donovan Smith, as we saw, the 6 we looked at, he grades out a plus on all 5 of them. Did not get the backside locked on that RPO, and then of course Taylor, he had 3 snaps where he would probably get a minus. The 2 outside zones to him, and the drop back he was bull rush. But again, as you said, small sample size, but those guys are going to continue to get better and better with more reps and get more comfort in the offense, and kind of looking forward to what we see in the next game.
Yeah, and very interesting, I think, too. Jawaan Taylor, kind of from the Pro Football Focus grades, the reputation he had was great pass blocker, and run blocking had some improvement to do. I think from this film, what we're looking at and some of the runs that could have been potentially bigger, we see an athletic guy, a great pass blocker, probably some work to do in the run game. So we'll see how that develops over time, and if the Chiefs can get him to that sort of ceiling that they paid him $20 million to get to on the right side for the Chiefs. But so far, so good for Donovan Smith. If he looks like this and the Chiefs got to steal with him in free agency, then they're going to love what they have there on the left side. That's going to wrap it up for the details. For Brett, this is Jesse. Be sure to tune in for another episode next week.